Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is November 6, 2024, and Barcelona just thrashed Red Star of Belgrade 2-5 in yet another amazing display of football by Hansi Flick's men. This is the post-match live analysis. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. This is the Barca News post-match live analysis where we analyze Barcelona matches as soon as they end, and where I also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering your questions, and getting that discussion going. This is not to be confused with the Barcelona podcasts where we share Barcelona news. By the way, today is Wednesday, so yes, there will be a podcast, even though I'm currently doing a post-match live analysis at the same time as I would usually do a podcast, but don't worry. As soon as this analysis is over, I will be hopping back on live to share Barcelona news with you. Now, having said all that, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure to hit the Gold Kids Get Bagger Fanatics. If you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure to bet us. All links are in the description below or below in the description, whatever you want to say. But anyways, let's start with the post-match live analysis because, ladies and gentlemen, this team is surreal. This team is relentless. Thrashing after thrashing after thrashing. It doesn't matter if it's La Liga. It doesn't matter if it's the Champions League. It doesn't matter if it's a home match. It doesn't matter if it's an away match. It doesn't matter if that's the weather is cold like it was today. It doesn't matter if it's hot. It doesn't matter if the ref is against you. It doesn't matter if the ref is for you. Nothing matters. This team is relentless. This team is unstoppable. And thanks to Flick and his team, we dare to dream, ladies and gentlemen. We dare to dream of winning it all because this Barcelona is capable of winning it all. Because one thing is to win, and another thing is to win convincingly. And then there is what Barcelona are doing, which are winning convincingly with thrashings. Thrashing after thrashing after thrashing. This is not normal, ladies and gentlemen. I used to say this about Lamine Yamal. I used to say, guys, do not get used to what you're seeing from Lamine Yamal. Do not think this is normal because it's not. He's a child. He's 17 years old playing at the highest level of football and destroying players that are much bigger than him, much more experienced than him. And I said, don't get used to that because that's not normal. Well, now I can say that about Hansi Flick's Barcelona because this is not normal. Only the first two matches did we win by a 1-goal difference. And from there, every single match has been a thrashing. This is not normal. Like I said, one thing is to win. Another thing is to win convincingly. And then there's Barcelona who are winning convincingly with thrashing after thrashing. This is absolutely surreal. They are absolutely relentless. And ladies and gentlemen, we dare to dream because when you focus on what you can control, which is something I said a lot last season, when it's something that Flick continues to say during his press conferences, when you focus on what you can control, which is how do you play, which is developing an identity, developing a system of play where your players can flourish. When you just focus on that and you forget the excuses that we heard time and time again all last season, the referee, the robberies, that penalty kick that we didn't get in our favor, the grass, the sun, the stadium, the injuries. This team doesn't work. We need Subimendi. We need Kimmich. We need Bernardo Silva. We need Haaland. When you forget about all of that and you just focus on what you can control, on what you have, this is the result. The result is a relentless team that does not know how to lose. This team does not know how to lose. And when I say they don't know how to lose, I don't mean like Real Madrid that when they lose, they start crying and they start finding excuses, talking about conspiracies and UEFA hates us and the referee hates us. No. I'm talking about this team doesn't know how to lose because they continue winning time and time again by thrashings, ladies and gentlemen. Hansi Flick's Barcelona are relentless. They're absolutely relentless. This is surreal. And ladies and gentlemen, we dare to dream because this team is capable of winning it all. Of course, another thing is whether they will or not, but this team is capable of it all. Now, let's talk specifically about the match because the first half was not that great. Barcelona were struggling a little bit. I'm not saying they were doing bad, but they just could not find the space. They could not find a way to get the goal, right? They were dominating. They were creating chances. They were consistently attacking. They had all the possession of the ball, but they just couldn't find the back of the net. Besides that first goal that Iñigo Martinez scored thanks to Rafinha's free kick. And then Hansi Flick, as always, went into the halftime, realized what he had saw, and made adjustments. And after that, the floodgates opened. Because what happened is during the first half, Red Star were playing a 4-1-4-1 formation, 4-1-4-1 formation, where you had a line of 4 center backs, a line of 4 midfielders, kind of a sweeper in between the 2 lines of 4 to help, with the recovery of the ball. And then they had one guy up front ready for the counterattacks. And that concentration of players was causing Barcelona a little bit of problem. There was a lot of traffic through the middle, and Barcelona just could not find the space. They couldn't finalize the many chances that they were creating. Again, when I say struggle, I say it in relative terms because by no means Barcelona were struggling in general terms. They were dominating. They had the ball. They were creating chances. But when I say struggling, is they couldn't finalize the many chances that they were getting. But what happens? Flick goes into the halftime. He had 45 minutes of watching the other team, of analyzing the other team, makes the adjustments, and boom, Barcelona finds the way. How? By using Jules Koundé. Because the way Flick reversed the roles of Lamine and Koundé was absolutely brilliant. Having Lamine cut through the middle to drag the mark with him, to take players with him, leaving the whole right flank wide open for Jules Koundé to go deep, cross the ball, and a hat trick of assists by Jules Koundé, who had an absolutely brilliant match. And after Barcelona's second goal, well, the floodgates opened. The third came, the fourth came, the fifth came, and it was just the game over from there. By the 65th minute, it was already game over. So much so that Flick even had the audacity, the luxury of being able to rotate, because this is how good Flick's teams are. This is how good they are at killing off the games, about just finalizing the games, closing off the games, whatever you want to call them, finishing their opponents. That's how good they are. Once they find the way in, within 20, 30 minutes, the game is over. So much so that, again, Flick had the luxury of being able to rotate during a Champions League match. Most teams would only dream of being able to rotate during a Champions League match. Not Flick. He did it. He did 5 rotations, and Barcelona took home 3 very important points. And with this victory, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona are now amongst the top 8 teams. Remember, under the new format of the Champions League, only the top 8 teams by points get to qualify to the round of 16. The next 8 teams, they have to play playoff matches, so with only 4 of them qualifying to the round of 16, and then the bottom 8, they go home. They don't even go to Europa, nothing, they just go home. And now Barcelona are amongst the top 8 teams, and with this, Barcelona would be qualifying to the knockout stages, or to the round of 16 of the Champions League. So great win today. 3 very important points. And now let's look at the formation that Hansi Flick used. I'll make this a little bit bigger. A few changes we saw, of course, Iñaki Peña is still on goal. Jules Koundé as a right back. Pau Cubarsí, Iñigo Martinez as our 2 center backs. Gerard Martin taking the place of Alejandro Balde. I'm not sure if this was to rest Balde or if it was more of a tactical decision where Flick wanted more of a defensive left back versus Balde, who's a lot more offensive. I'm not too clear about. I'm sure Flick will explain that in a post-match press conference. And then we had Frenkie de Jong and Marc Casado. So Frenkie de Jong taking the place of Pedri in a double pivot next to Casado. And then the front 3 were Lamine, Pedri, and Rafinha, with Pedri taking the place of Dani Olmo or Fermín López Those have been the two that usually play in that position. And finally, up front, Robert Lewandowski. Now, looking at this formation, I do want to mention a few players specifically. It started with Koundé, because as I said at the beginning of, or a few moments ago, Koundé was the total game changer this match. Once Hansi Flick made those tactical adjustments, and once he started using Lamine to cut in the middle, take off the mark, leaving that whole flank for Koundé, Koundé was absolutely unstoppable. 3 assists, again, a hat trick of assists for Jules Koundé, who was absolutely phenomenal today. And not just that, because he also had a defensive task. Remember that guy, Maximovic, the guy who said he was better than Lamine and that today he was going to prove it? Where was he today? He was actually on the field, by the way. I thought he wasn't playing, but then I went back, I reviewed the formations. I was like, oh shit, yeah, he's right there. I had no idea. You know why he had no idea that Maximovic was on the field? Because of Jules Koundé, who completely canceled him out. So not only did Koundé did an amazing job offensively, getting that hat trick of assists, but he was also amazing defensively, completely canceling out the supposed little Messi, the supposed better player than Lamine Yamal. And the other player I want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, I have to stand up for this. I have to stand up. Standing ovation, because Íñigo Martínez, ladies and gentlemen, this guy is unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable. One hell of a defender, a total leader, the offside trap that we all talk about. Thanks to him 100% with his leadership, the way he instructs his teammate, the way he sets up the offside trap, the way he goes head to head with any attacker. It doesn't matter who it is. Any attacker, and always wins those duels, ground duels, air duels, it doesn't matter. Íñigo Martínez goes head to head with any attacker and wins every single time. And on top of that, he has the audacity of scoring goals. Íñigo Martínez, you are an absolute gem. You are an absolute gift to FC Barcelona. I'm so happy that we got to sign you, and we got to sign him for free, ladies and gentlemen. He's a free agent. He came for free, and at 33 years old, what he's doing is also not normal. Íñigo Martínez, 2 goals in the Champions League, a 33-year-old center-back. Kylian Mbappé, the best striker in the world, 1 goal. That does it all right there, because, ladies and gentlemen, Íñigo Martínez, absolutely brilliant season. Not night, not match, brilliant season. This guy is a gift to our defensive backline and also to our attack, because he's always helping with the build-up all the way from the back and now even scoring goals. And he won the MVP of the match tonight, deservedly so. So, ladies and gentlemen, Íñigo Martínez, thank you so much for everything you do for Barcelona. And then a few more players I want to discuss. Marc Asado, because Marc Asado continues on a superb level, more so tonight, because tonight he had to do the job of 2. Marc Asado is always doing an amazing job himself, but today he did it for 2 because Frankie de Jong was just not it. I don't want to say Frankie de Jong was horrible or anything like that, but he was 1 gear below the rest of the team. He was just not as sharp with his ball movement. He actually sometimes slowed the ball movement down. His passes weren't as accurate. His movements weren't as sharp. He wasn't that much active in the ball possession. I think, of course, it has to do with the fact that he just came back. He hasn't been getting, much minutes. He's only played a few minutes here and there. So that's normal. But nonetheless, it was like it didn't even matter because Marc Asado was there. Marc Asado was there to do his job and to cover for Frankie de Jong. So brilliant night. Another brilliant night by Marc Asado, who just doesn't seem to know how to have bad nights. Just doesn't have bad nights. Every player has bad nights. We've seen Lamine have bad matches. We've seen Lewy have bad matches. We've seen Rafinha have bad matches. Not Casado. This guy does not know what a bad match is. It's simply not in his vocabulary. So another great performance by Casado. And with that, let's wrap up, because honestly, the whole team did great. I don't want to go through every player. Otherwise, this will be a 100-minute live stream. I just wanted to highlight Íñigo, Koundé, and Casado And then the rest, well, you guys watch the match. Lewandowski with another double. Rafinha with an assist and a goal. We already talked about Inigo's goal. Fermin Lopez coming in, scoring a goal, and even having a chance to score 2 more. Great, great game. One thing, Ansu Fati. Today we saw a lot of rotations. We saw everybody come off from the attack. Rafinha, Lewandowski, Lamine, they all came off. Pedri came off. Even Pau Cubarsí came off, that because of the injury. But we didn't see Ansu. We even saw Pau Victor coming in ahead of Ansu. That's starting to tell me that Ansu might be done. He was already done at the beginning of the season when he came back from Brighton, because Barcelona sent him to Brighton with the hopes that he can, find back his form. It didn't work out. When he came back, Barcelona were like, okay, we're done. We're going to ship him off. But then comes Flick, and it's like, hold on a minute. I think I can recover him. So Barcelona's like, okay, fine. Go for it. But it doesn't seem like it's working, because in a slew of substitutions, we didn't see him. We even saw Pau Victor come ahead of him, and I'm starting to think that Ansu's done. And probably the best thing he could do this winter transfer market is look for another team where he could go get more minutes, get his confidence back, kind of like what Vitor Roque is doing at Real Betis. Pau Cubarsí, by the way, his cut wasn't bad. They've had to give him 10 stitches to close him up. Really bad cut. Hopefully, he'll fully recover and he'll be fine. But 10 stitches, a pretty hard kick to the head. Hopefully, a cut, that's fine. You can heal from it. Hopefully, he didn't get any concussion or anything like that, because that's a little bit more serious. So I wish Pau Cubarsí a speedy recovery. Hopefully, it's just a cut and nothing else, because when it comes to head injuries, those are pretty scary, especially when you get so many of them. They can have long-term repercussions. Anyways, brilliant night by Barcelona. This team, again, as I said at the beginning, is absolutely relentless. This team does not know how to lose. This team doesn't even know how to win with just by a goal or two. All they know is how to win, thrashing after thrashing after thrashing. This team is unstoppable, and this team is capable of winning it all, and we dare to dream. After many, many years, ladies and gentlemen, we dare to dream. Great victory, 3 more points. We are at the top 8 teams bracket, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This whole format is confusing, but we're amongst the top 8 teams in the Champions League. And if we remain in like this, we will qualify to the next round. All right, let's do the comment section. We have Elon Musk, who took some time off from running Tesla to come watch the live stream and comment. Thank you, sir, for doing that. He says, hi, Mo, Bisca Barca. I couldn't find the guy that said he was going to show the world that he's better than Lamine. Yeah, I couldn't find it either. Like, I have to go back, Google lineup for Red Star Belgrade versus Barcelona. Google said he was on there. I believe Google. But yeah, I didn't see him either. So if any of you guys saw him, please let me know. And Har Huevos, that's who's that clown again that said he's better than Lamine. Maximovic, if you want to remember that name. Let's see. Marcus said, hey, Mo, I'm here from North Dakota after my friend just won the local government state representative. This is no better gift Barcelona would give him but to win Bisca Barca. That's pretty amazing. By the way, for people who don't live in the U.S., last night was election night. An election, for everything, right? The presidency, Senate, House of Representatives, even local government. So, Marcus, congratulations to your friend who won the local government. Local government is extremely, extremely important. I know everybody gets excited to vote in the federal elections, but they don't realize local government is actually 10 times more important than federal elections, because your local government impacts you directly on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to federal government, which is a little bit more disconnected. But I don't want to bore you guys with American politics. Just remember, if you have the ability to vote, vote, because it's a very, very important right, and we shouldn't ever take it for granted. Vincent says, Maxilorovic. No, you're not writing his name. The correct way is Maximovic, but I know who you're talking about, so don't worry. Said, thought he was playing Leganés. That kid saw what Lamine brings. He was taught a lesson just like Revia. No, it wasn't even that he thought he was playing Leganés. He thought he was playing another team in Serbia, because if you're called Little Messi in Serbia, that doesn't really mean much. It's like being called Michael Jordan in I don't know. I don't want to offend anyone or any country, but like in a country where basketball is not that big, I don't know, Honduras, just to throw a country out there, right? Where basketball is not really big, and you're being called Jordan in a country where basketball is not really. That doesn't mean much. If you're being called Jordan in the U.S., which has the best basketball league, maybe in Europe where there are some pretty strong leagues now, getting stronger and stronger. Okay, I get it. But to be called a little Messi in Serbia, that doesn't really mean much. Anyways, Tilobo says, Martin, I know he needs time, but his weakness, a big one, even the first goal played the guy onside his final ball is a problem. Defense also shake. Alex should have stayed. Gerard Martin did not look good the first half. I have to say that. He was definitely the weak link in a defensive line. The first goal by Red Star was his fault. He lost focus and he did not stay within on the offside line. Not a good first half. Second half, a little better. I'm not gonna say superb. He wasn't like Puyol or anything, but a little better, and that's natural. Again, this is a kid that plays in third division, so to play in first division, it's gotta take some time, right? Not to mention that this was the Champions League. I don't know if it was the best decision to have someone from Barca Athletic start in the Champions League. I mean, maybe bring him in during the last 15, 20 minutes. But again, I don't know what the reasoning was behind this decision. I don't know if Balde needed rest. I don't know if Balde maybe felt some discomfort before the match. Or maybe if it was just a tactical decision to have a more defensive left back. Not sure. But he was the weak link during the first half. And again, like you said, he needs time. It's natural. He plays at Barca Athletic. To expect him to go for Barca Athletic to start in a Champions League match, he's just not going to be like amazing. He's going to take him some time. Matt Gamer says, I want revenge against Liverpool for 2019. Bring it on in the UCL final. Revenge, my friend, doesn't help anyone or anything. Don't think about the past. Who cares about what Liverpool did? Who cares about the 8-2 for Bayern? Focus on the present, and the present is beautiful thanks to Hansi Flick and his team. Let's see what else. Duduzi says, hey, Mo, Frankie de Jong needs some time. I know he didn't give a good time today. Yeah, I mean, he's coming back from injury. He hadn't played, what was it, like 6 months? I think April was his last match. He came back towards the end of October. So, yeah, 6 months being out, it's going to take you a few matches to get back, your sharpness, to get back into competitive rhythm. So, of course, it's understandable. But today, Casado had to do the job of two people, and that's not a criticism on Frankie. That's a holy shit on Casado, right? Because he's always amazing, like doing his job, and now he was amazing doing two people's job. Like, where do you see that in a critical position, which is the double pivot, right? Because you cannot mess up in a double pivot. You mess up and you leave your backline completely exposed. And he was doing a job of two and doing it in a fantastic way. So this is not to bag on Frankie. This is not a criticism on Frankie. This is more, to say, wow, Casado, what is going on, man? Where were you this whole time? Let's see. Obike says, I will be frank with you, Mo. Lewandowski is not supposed to be in this scintillating Barca team by next season. He is slow, and the chances he should easily convert, he doesn't do that. My friend, Robert Lewandowski is what? 20 goals now? We're only 2 months in, and you're complaining about him? Are you fucking kidding me? He is the best performing center forward in Europe. He's doing better than Haaland. Now everyone's like, bring Haaland. Lewandowski is better than Haaland. And you're complaining about him? Like, literally, he's the best center forward in Europe right now. If you want someone better, there is no one better. Right now, Lewandowski is it. Now, don't get me wrong. We do need a replacement for him by next season and following season, because he will eventually, have to retire. He's 36 years old, but not because of his performance. Let's be real here. He has almost 20 goals. We're only 2 months in. This guy's going to end up with 40, maybe even 50 by the time the season ends. At 36. That's mind-blowing. Amy says, Kunde and Casado were the top players for me. Martin was not at the level we need. Hopefully he will get better with minutes played. Yeah, again, I didn't think it was the right decision to have him start in a Champions League match. I think, if Hansi believes in him, if Hansi sees a potential in him, if Hansi believes that Gerard Martin is going to be better with time, then maybe just bring him in during, the last 15, 20 minutes of each La Liga match. Just keep bringing him in, get him more minutes, and then throw him in the Champions League versus, oh, hey, you're going to play with Barca Athletic, and then all of a sudden you're just going to start a Champions League match. All right, let's see. Yamidara says, Mo, ain't you amazed that Barca scoring multiple goals per game is now commonplace? I'm very amazed. And that's why I said at the beginning of this is not normal. Don't get used to this. Don't think that what Barca's doing is normal. It is not normal to win every match 5-0, 5-1, 4-1, 4-0. That's not normal. Even the greatest teams in history, yes, they had matches that ended like that, 5-0, 4-0. But that wasn't every match. It was every now and then, right? They would have maybe 2-3 games where they would win by a goal or 2 goals, and then they have 2-3 thrashings, then back to maybe 2-3. But Barca, only 2 matches they won by a 1 goal difference. The first 2 matches. After that, it's been thrashing after thrashing after thrashing after thrashing. That's not normal. And to think that Xavi Hernandez told us that when he was asked about how is it that Barcelona just keep winning by a 1 goal difference, he said thrashings are a thing of the past, that in modern football, thrashings were impossible. Xavi told us that, even though he himself had gotten thrashed by Girona twice, by Villarreal, by Athletic Club de Bilbao, by Real Madrid, by PSG. He himself got thrashed several times, but he told us that thrashings were impossible. And there was no place for thrashings in modern football. And here comes Hansi Flick a year later, so even more modern than before. And it's just a thrashing after thrashing after thrashing after thrashing. This is not normal. Don't ever think that this is normal, and do not get used to this because this is not normal. Let's see. Tappan says, Inu has been solid for months. I hate that he's just getting his recognition now. His performance have been nothing short of world class. He's been solid since last year. Last season, he was also very solid. He wasn't getting as many minutes, but the few minutes that he would get here and there, he was solid. I used to say it on here all the time. I was like, Inigo Martinez is a great center back. He has been top 5 center backs in La Liga for the past 10 years. People are like, no, Mo, you don't know what you're talking about. Mo, you don't know anything about football. Mo, he's old. We need to get rid of him. When we were talking about his registration, because he had only been registered for 1 season and they still need to register him for this season, they were like, don't register him, just get rid of him. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? Like, are we watching the same player? And now everybody's like, oh, Inigo. It's like, dude, Inigo has always been solid. Just go back and watch his matches at Athletic Club de Bilbao. Go watch his matches at Real Sociedad. He's always been solid. And people were like, no, he's old. Get out of here. That says, well, Frankie was holding up play. Yes, he was slow, but he controlled the game. You just hate him. I was not aware that I hated him. Thank you for letting me know how I feel about other players. I had no idea. The Jeff says, Gerard Martin is not Barca level. I keep saying it. He is. It's going to take him time to be first division level. Right now, he's third division level. Flick believes in him. And if Flick believes in him, I believe in him. Because Flick hasn't given me any reasons to doubt him. So if you think you know more than Flick, that's your prerogative. I prefer to trust the coach that has turned my team into the best team in Europe overnight. AD says, another valuable 3 points today, but let's not get carried away or kid ourselves. Here, the opposition we played today were horrendous and definitely not Champions League quality. Sure, your point would be valid. Hadn't we thrashed Bayern Munich and hadn't we thrashed Real Madrid, then your point would be valid. But otherwise, is it valid? Tisha says, please leave the guy alone. He probably said that because he was excited about playing against Lamine Yamal, Vizca Barça, the football. You could be excited in a humble way. He could have said, yeah, man, I'm very excited. We're playing Barcelona. We're playing the best. I can't wait to go against Lamine Yamal. He's a great player. I'm gonna try to go head to head with him. But to outright say, I'm gonna go out there and prove I'm better than him, that's not excitement. Let's see. Sajok says, hi, Mo. I joined late. Did you talk about how good Gerard Martin was? He's just not Barca level. Already mentioned them at the beginning. I don't want to be repetitive. Street Fighter says, where was that 17-year-old Red Star player? I thought he's better than Lamine Yamal. Again, covered it as well, and I don't want to be repetitive. Anyways, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I am doing the podcast. I'm going to probably take 30 minutes because I finished work right away, hopped to the live stream. So I'm going to go eat, have something to drink, use the bathroom, and then I will be doing the podcast. So probably in the next 30 minutes, around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because there is Barcelona news. There's always news, even on match days. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, peace, God.